Read the future through the stars, or Tarot of Moors. Cut you with the scimitar or shadow sword. Dan and Callaway are names of Moors of Europe. Black and Indians say lying and selling you hope. Dirty Moors tell you MST surveyors religious. Replace Jesus with Drew Ali singing hymns like Christians. Emmanuel I said be a human rights reader, but Ross play games in Moorish jalabias. You Wapians know the dog gave him circle 7 lessons and call him a nation of Moors in 360 questions. Hebrew Israelites are Moorish, Zionist Jews, but has the mothers in the back of tabernacle rooms, praying to the patriarch when Ark is the womb. Reincarnated Drew Ali, written on given soon. Drew Ali reincarnated is also Fard Muhammad, claiming the prophet, but he's all about profit. $sign odds, 10 grand for a package. King of the Moor smearing feces, that's so savage. They're not against me, but against Drew Ali. We're not adjective like black collar or Somali. Jumping over Negro and say more means blacks as nigga leaders with scholarship off track. Should face a firing squad with lies like that. BLM leaders, mansions, every state on the map. No guilt or remorse. They face on billboards, but police victims in courts as a status quo wards. Mothers mourning, hiring civil rights attorneys. Most of them are not worthy and job turkeys. Make you march and picket. No one sees you like midgets, no matter how hard you fidget. Choked out for 10 minutes. Read the future through the stars, or Tarot of Moors. Cut you with the scimitar or shadow sword. Dan and Callaway are names of Moors of Europe. Black and Indians say lying and selling you hope. Dirty Moors tell you MST surveyors religious. Replace Jesus with Drew Ali singing hymns like Christians. Emmanuel I said be a human rights reader, but Ross play games in Moorish jalabias. You Wapians know the dog gave him circle 7 lessons and call him a nation of Moors in 360 questions. Hebrew Israelites are Moorish, Zionist Jews, but has the mothers in the back of tabernacle rooms, praying to the patriarch when Ark is the womb. Reincarnated Drew Ali, written on given soon. Drew Ali reincarnated is also Fard Muhammad, claiming the prophet, but he's all about profit. $sign odds, 10 grand for a package. King of the Moor smearing feces, that's so savage. They're not against me, but against Drew Ali. We're not adjective like black collar or Somali. Jumping over Negro and say more means blacks as nigga leaders with scholarship off track. Should face a firing squad with lies like that. BLM leaders, mansions, every state on the map. No guilt or remorse. They face on billboards, but police victims in courts as a status quo wards. Mothers mourning, hiring civil rights attorneys. Most of them are not worthy and job turkeys. Make you march and picket. No one sees you like midgets, no matter how hard you fidget. Choked out for 10 minutes. Been dead for 7 on your highway to heaven. They get off with a wrist slap, but not charged like a felon. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. Your mind is so black. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see.
That's those black glasses, baby.
Your mind is so black.
You said meet them where they're at? Been there, done that. Sounds like you want me going back to being black. Dead carcass, a dead status, same difference. All in experience. Blacks getting shot up, but Moors made them shut up. Double cup, that's protection. Every man to a nation. Negotiate for what? When you have the Constitution. Am I a Negro or what? You need permission, not prohibitive. Privilege, like you're somebody's kid. I guess that's the way we live. Nah, free national standards. I'm nobody's bastard. Land, air, water. That spells law, but you're blind, baby. I told you, you're blind, baby. Lessons for the percolating. Don't shoot my birdie. More science and facts. Fiction is the movie. Look at the way you act. If you don't believe me, then study. Then you will know, and you will grow. You will know, and you will grow. Blind, baby.
You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. Your mind is so black. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. You're blind from the facts. You can't see what I can see. You're blind, baby. Your mind is so black.
Here we go. Raka! North Star! That way. The North Star's that way. Canaanland moves. Read off, he pay every day. Oh, Uplift the V cause we all base. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before is still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more rays. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7s first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. Declare 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No but Drew X. Do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Coffee, whirlwind times 2. Raka! North Star. That way, the North Star's that way. Canaanland moves. Read our VP every day. Uplift the V cause we all base. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before is still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more rays. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7s first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. Declare 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No but Drew X. Do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Coffee, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to ceiling, cut the light on and stand and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government, you know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. If I can govern myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof? No sense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question: if not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmecan features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty mortals and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point. Spirit messages never off. Inner realizations, encounter the higher selves. Next plane existence explains my consistence. Without a foe, you never know, so path most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress, metaphysic, Kabbalistic, Almaroc mystic, patriarch, papistics, make my thoughts sadistic, so indigenous, call me Americanistic, invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic.
Raka! North Star! That way, the North Star's that way. Canaanland moves. Read our VP every day. Uplift the V cause we all base. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before is still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more rays. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7s first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. Declare 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No but Drew X. Do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. on the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Garvey, whirlwind times 2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to ceiling, cut the light on and stand and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government, you know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. If I can govern myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof? No sense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question. If not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmec features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty Moors and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point, spirit messages never off. Inner realizations, encounter the higher selves, next plane existence, explains my consistence. Without a foe you never know, so past most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress, metaphysic, Kabbalistic, Almaroc mystic, patriarch, papistics, make my thoughts sadistic, so indigenous, call me Americanistic, invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic, suns on rotation, flows ecliptic, shatter all illusions, reveal the realistic, sitting in the dark, holding the light marvelous, recognize the artifice, skin so carbonous, hair so antenna, I feel them from Vienna, myriad of virtues, lessons, in reptilian henna, enlightenment seekers won't find it in mainstream, focus as a laser, stay balanced like a beam, not even a gymnast, whenever I flip this, as above so below, get out when within this, don't think I'm a slave cause I speak in English, Drew Ali the water, watch your flames get extinguished, living in your higher lower self is relinquished, reputation of master teachers, call it distinguished. Islam Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. All the Moors that are studying ETC. You could send the invite again, because they're not showing me. Can't see you on the list. You already know how they do. You just wanted to get on here. Just wanted to get on here with regard to some things. Some things. High school senior who took prom pictures holding 2 firearms loses full ride scholarship. And the black guys are going to be complaining. Right? What the black guys going to do? And complain, right? Call people racist and all that stuff, right? That's what they're going to do, isn't it? Everybody has a right to bear arms. Everybody got it right? Oh, yeah? American Constitution Society. No rights which the white man is bound to respect. The Dred Scott decision. This month marks the 150th anniversary of the Supreme Court famous Dred Scott versus Sanford case, in which an African-American slave sued for his freedom. Dred Scott's argument was that because he was brought into free territories, he could not be returned to the bonds of slavery. Over the course of 11 years, his case was litigated several times over and eventually wound its way into the Supreme Court of the United States. On March 6, 1857, Chief Justice Roger Taney issued what is widely regarded as the worst Supreme Court opinion ever. He noted that the question before the court was whether African Americans are citizens of the United States and thus able to file suit in federal court. His analysis of the issue is couched in abjectly racist language. Quote, African Americans had for more than a century before been regarded as beings of an inferior order, and although unfit to associate with the white race, either in social or political relations, and so far inferior that they had no rights which the white man was bound to respect, and that the Negro might justly and lawfully be reduced to slavery for his benefit. He was bought and sold and treated as an ordinary article of merchandise and traffic, whenever a profit could be made by it. Whenever a profit could be made by it. You think they're going to hunt him down and charge him with possession and showing weapons and all this type of stuff? Why? Because it's probably black. More than likely, what's your nationality? Oh, black. Oh, you got last name Wilfred. Oh, it's because it's a slave master. Oh, all right. Just put it on the record. You just put it on the record that you're stateless. So don't talk about where are the rights. Why don't they have the right to bear arms? Because they're considered black. And there's no rights that they have that the white man's bound to respect. And you already know, white does not mean the Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races. They're pretty much telling you that the world doesn't respect the blacks' rights. Because we already know these modern Europeans, we know that they're not white. Right? Yeah. Dred Scott case even made it on Jeopardy. That's how big that case is. Right. That's how big it is. It's that big that it made it on Jeopardy. And they know who's the past 500 Jeopardy champions or whatever like that, but they don't recognize that the Dred Scott case told them that they better have a nationality. Because if you're classified as black or a slave, you're property and you don't have rights. And if you do have rights, no white man is bound to respect that. And white man means the world, because white is not skin complexion. White is not Caucasian, not Asian, not Indo-European races. Modern European is not white. It's that simple. That's just what it is. Don't get mad. Dark-skinned people aren't black. That's just what it is. If you want to play Dred Scott games, you're a black man, you're a slave that got to a free state, so now you're free. No, you're not. What the hell are you talking about? No, you're not. You're still property. And a chair can't own a plate that's sitting on it. If a plate walked up and then sat on the chair can't get up and say the plate's my slave now because I own the plate, because the chair is its own jurisdiction and all that. He came into the jurisdiction, so we got jurisdiction over the plate sitting on the chair, and go to chair court. Go to chair court to decide the case, and the chair chief justice said plate doesn't have no rights that the chair is bound to respect. Now, the fact that it has to go so far that we have to talk about chair courts and all that stuff for you to get this, that's a problem. That means you're not comprehending something. That means something's wrong psychologically with you. Something's wrong psychologically with you if you can't get what Moors are saying. There's actually something off mentally with those individuals. We're not talking to ones that, oh yeah, they'll still call you by your free national name, but they don't want to say that they're black, but they recognize you because you got your turban and your fez and your nationality card and whatever like that. And they're not going to be, we're not talking about those ones. We're not talking about the people who pick their slot in life and they're comfortable. We're talking about the ones who talk crazy. The ones who want to debate Moors. The ones who want to pretend as if Noble Joe Ali didn't know what he's talking about, but their grandma and their uncle and their aunt and their cousin and their fifth cousin or whatever were members of Moorish Science Temple. And only their dumbass wasn't. Those are the ones we're talking about. Blacks don't have any rights that the white man's bound to respect. Right? One of the Moors put this one up too. One of the Moors put this one up. Suspect asks for a lawyer dog. Judge says he asks for a lawyer dog. They tell me this is some of the dumbest stuff you ever heard. And then they're only doing this with a certain people, and these certain people don't get what's going on. On Friday, the Louisiana Supreme Court declined to hear an important appeal involving the constitutional right to counsel. The case involves a man who'd voluntarily agreed to speak with police. When Warren Demisme realized that the cops suspected him of child rape, he told them, per the trial court transcript, "I know that I didn't do it. So why don't you just give me a lawyer dog? Because this is not what's up." The Supreme Court has ruled that when a suspect asks for an attorney, the interrogation must end and a lawyer must be provided. But the police disregarded Demesme's request, and the trial court ruled that the statements he subsequently made can be used to convict him. Demesme appealed, arguing that his Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights to counsel had been violated. A state appeals court held that they were not. And now the state Supreme Court has declined to review that judgment, with only Justice Jefferson Hughes III voting to take Demesme's appeal. Justice Scott Critchin penned a brief opinion concurring in the court's decision not to hear the case. He wrote apparently in absolute seriousness that the defendant's ambiguous and equivocal reference to a lawyer dog does not constitute an invocation of counsel that warrants termination of the review. You want to be black? It doesn't matter what you call yourself? Oh, yeah? Oh, it doesn't matter what you call yourself. All right. State of Louisiana versus Warren Demesme on writ of certiorari to the Court of Appeal, Fourth Circuit, Parish of Orleans. Critchin J. additionally concurs and assigns reasons. I agree with the court's decision to deny the defendant's writ application and write separately to spotlight the very important constitutional issue regarding the invocation of counsel during a law enforcement interview. The defendant voluntarily agreed to be interviewed twice regarding his alleged sexual misconduct with minors. At both interviews, detectives advised the defendant of his Miranda rights, and the defendant stated he understood and waived those rights. Nonetheless, the defendant argues he invoked his right to counsel, and the basis for this comes from the second interview, where I believe the defendant ambiguously referenced a lawyer, prefacing the statement with, if y'all, this is how I feel. If y'all think I did it, I know that I didn't do it, so why don't you just give me a lawyer, dog? 'Cause this is not what's up. As this court has written, if a suspect makes reference to an attorney that is ambiguous or equivocal in that a reasonable police officer in light of the circumstances would have understood only that the suspect might be invoking his right to counsel, the cessation of questioning is not required. Agreeing with the lower court's conclusion that the statement, maybe I should talk to a lawyer, is not an ambiguous request for a lawyer. In my view, the defendant's ambiguous and equivocal reference to a lawyer dog does not constitute an invocation of counsel that warrants termination of the interview and does not violate Edwards versus Arizona. Listen. If you think that being whatever you call yourself, it doesn't matter, is better than being a Moor and having a nationality, then, do your thing. But there's receipts. There's documented evidence to show that if you call yourself black or you classify yourself as black, and if you are incompetent and don't know law and are going to put, words in places that they're not supposed to go and expect people to go with your BS, you have another thing coming. And I would suggest that you consider what Moors are telling you, what Moors been telling you for the past 100+ years. That you're not these labels. You're not these fictions. You have a nationality. And you better proclaim and declare your nationality. This is why we made the statement, and we back it up. We made the statement, and the statement's backed up because it was said before we said it. The boat has left the dock. A lot of people thought that was just some flyer or something like that, and then they didn't pay that any attention. The boat has left the dock. When we got into this, the boat has left the dock. And In order to get to the boat, you're going to have to swim. You're going to have to go get a boat, speedboat, get a Corvette or something like that. Go back to the mindset of your foremothers and forefathers and get your ass to the boat. Because the boat left the dock. In 2008, it already had left the dock. We're on the boat now. So, you know what I mean? We're good now. We're going to have to swim. And swimming is studying. Swimming is not going out there paying $5,000 and then this guy's going to help you be a Moor. That's not going to get you. You're still standing on the dock. If you haven't began studying and you thought, oh, I'm just going to listen to this and then I'm going to be a Moor. Or I'm just going to do this paper and then I'm going to be a Moor. I'm just going to get this card and then I'm a Moor. You're way off. You're still on the dock. The only reason you're warped is because you didn't realize that, you know, sea levels rise. So where there was a dock, there's no dock. Where there was a dock, there's no dock. Where you at if you're on the dock and the boat left? And then the sea level rose. Where you at? Do you even have common sense to go back to land? Just like he didn't have common sense to say his stuff again. I want a lawyer. After that, everything has to stop. If that's the route you're going to go, the lawyer route and all that stuff, then, you know, you put dog after. Who you talking to? That's your boy on the block. These people are about to kidnap you for damn molesting minors. You're talking to them chilling like that. But remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So don't let me hear any BS. Well, the brother should, you gotta look out for the brother and all. No, don't you hear that he had prior stuff with minors? What are you talking about? This first incident with minors. He got prior stuff with minors. So know that without nationality, you don't got rights. And don't tell me any BS about, well, look at the rise of the Moor, they got whatever like that. Well, how come they didn't extradite Ianga Bay yet? How come she's still in Arkansas? How come? So hold on a second. So Ianga Bay got kidnapped, right? Because she violated some state of Massachusetts BS, just like Moorish militia did, right? And she's supposed to get extradited back there for court. How come she not extradited yet? How come the docket report, public record, right, has her in there as the straw? How come they're still saying no case? No case? How come there's no case? There's no citation number. Nothing? No. Extradition granted March 2nd. April 30th, she's still how come she's not extradited yet? How come? This is a dangerous offender and all that stuff, you know what I mean? How come the other Moors got bail? They're so dangerous. So know that these two situations aren't the same. Right? Black guy getting arrested for guns because he's waving them around. He doesn't have rights or whatever like that. And him getting kidnapped. And then Moors getting kidnapped by these people, and then you're in the cell with the Moor. Why the Moor getting arrested? And you think it's the same stuff. It's not the same. It's a totally different game that they're playing with Moors. They're not playing black games with Moors. They're playing absolute callous disregard for rights when it comes with Moors. Stateless people don't have rights. So don't bring up rights when you're talking about stateless people. Bring up privileges. That's what they have. They have privileges, and those could be taken away. So don't get mad when something happens. It's not racism. They lost their privilege because they're property. Like a dog does some BS, then you're going in the kennel. Your property. You don't have rights. Like dog rights, PETA and all that stuff. But then you don't hear them talking about free the birds in cages. They ain't freeing them. They want to free whales and elephants and all that stuff. How about free the ants getting stepped on? Nothing for the ants. The snails and the worms getting stepped on by people. You run out there, save them. People are hypocrites. Ain't no rights. There's no right that black guy has that the white man's bound to respect. Zero rights. And Moors have rights. And when they get kidnapped, that means that the people who kidnapped them violated the law because they're not supposed to kidnap Moors. And F a treaty and all that stuff because that's why. That ain't why. We've been here before them. Now they got jurisdiction over you. Unless you gave it to them. You think they shut down Rise of the Moors, Instagram and all that stuff and YouTube because it's not a campaign against Moors? You're that dumb? So Trump gets kicked off Twitter or whatever. Oh my gosh, they can't do that to him. Whoever said whatever gets kicked off of Instagram, whatever. Oh my God, they can't. Rise of the Moors YouTube shut down. Crickets. Not a word from these people. Like, hey, why would they shut down their YouTube page if they already got them? Like, what's the threat? Why would they stop their live? Why would they not want them to go live? Go back and check anything. They weren't saying anything. They weren't chanting down with the government or nothing like that. They were just out there talking about their rights. Why did they shut that down? If they're for rights and the democracy and the people, we the people and all that, yeah? The difference with Moors is that we have rights. So whenever this stuff's over, these people got issues. Serious issues. Because the Moors kidnapped would have put it on their record that they have a nationality. And don't get fooled. Don't get fooled that when you see something happen to a Moor crashes car and a black guy crashes car, it's two different stuff. Right? You're going to go check the Moor's car and then you see that the brake line's cut or something like that. And then you go check the black guy's car and you find bottles everywhere and weed all over and all that. Push the accelerator by accident. That's a black guy accident. No more just crashing their car. Doing some nigger stuff. Back to the American Constitution Society. The response to this opinion was immediate. Rather than settle the issue of slavery, it simply inflamed public opinion and divided the country further. Frederick Douglass assailed Chief Justice Taney's opinion, noting that the rights of African Americans derive not from any judicial pronouncement, but from natural law. Quote, "We are now told in tons of lofty exaltation that the day is lost, all lost, and that we might as well give up the struggle. The highest authority has spoken. The voice of the Supreme Court has gone out and over the troubled waves of national consciousness, saying, 'Peace be still.' The Supreme Court of the United States is not the only power in this world. It is very great, but the Supreme Court of the Almighty is greater." The Negro, black guy, mad after the case, after the decision, after the opinions of the different justices that shot down their BS about suing because slave suing somebody. You know, Frederick Douglass, one of the higher ups of the struggle movement, said the voice of the Supreme Court of the United States is not the only power in this world. It is very great, but the Supreme Court of the Almighty is greater. The Supreme Court of what? Almighty what? That's like the gates of heaven. What gates? Why would heaven have a gate? What do you mean a gate? I thought heaven's not physical stuff. So what do you mean a gate of heaven? What do you mean milk and honey and rivers and stuff like that? What are you talking about? What Almighty has a Supreme Court? What Supreme Court does the Almighty have? Where's that at? Where's the Supreme Court of the Almighty? If you could look up court, it's probably something physical. Don't be dumb. The point is that slaves have no rights. If you want to be a slave, meaning somebody who does not have a nationality, then rights do not apply to you. This is a good one. This understanding of Dred Scott has now become almost universal. During his recent confirmation hearings, Chief Justice John Roberts was asked about the Dred Scott decision. He characterized it as a deplorable act of judicial fiat. Judicial fiat. Claiming that it is perhaps the most egregious example of judicial activism in our history, in which the court went far beyond what was necessary to decide the case. And really, I think historians would say that the Supreme Court tried to put itself in the position of resolving the dispute about the extension of slavery and resolving it in a particular way that it thought was best for the nation. And we saw what disastrous consequences flowed from that. Chief Justice Roberts seems to define judicial activism as the court's officious resolution of an ongoing national debate. It is certainly easy to decry the Dred Scott decision which is uniformly veiled as judicial activism. If the court had concluded that freed slaves were entitled to full national citizenship, though, would it be as easy to characterize that conclusion as judicial activism? In a recent episode of C-SPAN's America and Courts, Professor Mark Garber expressed his sentiment on that issue, noting that judicial activism is when the court makes rulings that I do not like. I think we would all be better off if we skipped the words judicial activism from our vocabulary. So the Supreme Court makes a ruling. People don't like it. Didn't Drew Ali tell these people in Divine Warning about the misuses and abuses that they're going to get from the citizens? If you never read Divine Warning by the Prophet for the Nations, I suggest you go read that as soon as possible. That might be a little floaty thing to get you closer to the boat. Instead of playing around with these people who tying stuff to your ankles, 500 pounds, talking about you're gonna get there. You have to go down first and then go across the bottom of the ocean to catch the boat. And you're listening to these people. And they charge you $3,500 for that. Everybody knows that the blacks don't have rights. And they keep pretending like they got some. And everybody knows that they have none. All right, keep playing. You'll learn. You could learn the easy way. You know what Drew Ali brought to you? Or you could learn the hard way. That's your options. They all sold you out.
Enemy that an Indian can have is the worst enemy that an Indian can have is another Indian. Think about that. The same with black people. The worst enemy that black people have had has been another black person. The bourgeoisie Oreo cookies. The worst enemy that an Indian can have is another Indian. Think about that. The same with black people. The worst enemy that black people have had has been another black person. The bourgeoisie Oreo cookies.
So now, if as you're eating your Oreo cookie right now, and then you're doing the turny thing, so the cream doesn't tear or whatever like that, and then you're gonna dunk your Oreo in the milk. And you're gonna dunk your Oreo in the milk, right? And you're going to be enjoying your Oreo cookie, savoring the flavor of the Oreo. And you think that that's a sellout black guy? You're really in a state of irreparable mental damage. Emotional damage. Right? You're in bad shape if you don't know about your nationality right now. You're in bad shape. You're in such bad shape that there's nothing more that we could say. They might do is shut down all the stuff and just deal with Moors. Just forget this BS, because then listen to Indian guy tell them about, yeah, that's right. The Oreo cookie is a sellout, man. Just like the thing in the closet, the pile of clothes looking at you while you're in the dark room is gonna eat you. The pile of clothes that you know is a pile of clothes there before you went to bed or whatever. Then you jump up in the middle of the night and the pile of clothes is ready to pounce on you and attack you. You have mental problems. Don't play games. Games aren't needed to be played. Like, you just don't need to play games. Why are you playing games? Why is it that people keep playing games with our people? How come the yellow guy's worst enemy is not the yellow guy? How come? How come the pink guy's worst enemy is not the pink guy? How come only the black guy's worst enemy is the black guy, and the Indian's worst enemy is the Indian? And if you talk about somebody from India, they be telling you, "Oh no, that I know what you're talking about." Yeah, what are you talking about? Indian? What do you mean Indian? What's that? What's an Indian? Oh, Hindustani? Oh, yeah, no, nationality. Oh, all right. Oh, but they don't want to be the fiction, do they? They don't want to be the Indian. So why is this guy telling people they're Indian? No different than why certain people just going to say that they're... Let's just get them. Might as well get them on the record again.
Fighting black, free black community of people. My grandfather, Andrew, was also a part of the Moorish Science Temple. I still have his pen. And so I come out of that house where Mama is his wife is the root lady, and he's the political leader, and the Masons and the Moors. So that's what I am. That's the house I come out of.
That's the house you come out of, but all you got is a pen? That's it? And talking BS about Moors? Talking BS about Moors when your whole family was part of the Moorish Science Temple. You want to know why you're still getting treated like property? Because these people took Noble Drew these lessons out of circulation that taught you how not to be property. Just go watch the video. Just go watch the video on Canaanland Moors. Why is Sabir Bey big mad for Canaanland Moors calling out James Small? Why? Because we know about the stuff they tried to pull in Africa with their resort and all that stuff, taking people's finance. And the resort is crap. The resort is crap. But they're telling Negroes who are dumb enough to pay to go there, though. Stay at some crap resort. Resort's just crap. Grass not cut is the least of your issues. What are these dummies doing? Giving them their finance. And then get mad when we're calling them out. Why are you against your brother? That's your brother. You shouldn't enter your brother. Get the hell out of here. Brother smother. What you talking about? The hell are you talking about? Not buying it. Not buying it.
Fucking air. And this is the crazy part. I'm sitting here like watching this. I'm watching the madness, even to the Canaanland Moors, all of this stuff, all of it. And this is what they're doing. I'm sitting here like, I was before there was a Canaanland Moors on the scene. You know where he got his information from? See, this is the thing that people don't understand. And this is why I step away from this. This is why I step away from it, because it's like, it's crazy that when people see these videos, they coming to me. They're not coming to them. They coming to me and saying, Sabir, well, I just heard such and such. That ain't got to do with it. If the Canaanland Moors, whoever these Moors want to sit down and have a discussion with me, they can put up some money. I can come to Canada.
You already did that. You already tried to get the finance. We know Moors who came to Canaanland for whatever they came for. Whatever they came for. First thing, call up the Grand Sheik. There's a lot more in town. You know, where you at? I got a car. I can go anywhere. You know what I mean? I want to go to the temple. I want to go to the temple. Doesn't know who Canaanland Moors is? How does he not know who Canaanland Moors is? How? He's just mad because he tried to, you know, we have a temple, we got numbers. He could tell us he's coming to town and have us take up a collection at the door so we could give him finance. No, too many Moors came here and for nothing. He's giving you finance to come to the temple. Right? You got finance to come to the temple. We're like, no, we're good. We'll meet you wherever you're at. Where you at? Then we go meet him at his Starbucks or whatever. We'll meet him at his Starbucks. Right. And on top of that, the reason why we were actually meeting for real, is because I bought DVDs from him. And he was coming here, so he might as well just bring the DVDs with him, opposed to sending it by the mail. DVDs that we paid for. Not he was dropping off some free whatever like that. We paid for them. And then he wanted finance to come to the temple. All right? So everybody knows who Canaanland Moors is. Everybody knows who Grand Sheik Kudro is if they say that they're a Moor. If they don't know, don't listen to them. They're a fraud probably. I've sat down and broke bread with Moors who they would have went for the gun and shot me for telling them the truth and not playing games with them like all these other Moors who they dealt with played games with them. The truth was too stern. They didn't want it. And 2 years later, getting calls out the blue. Hey, this is so-and-so. Remember the Moor that you cussed off or whatever like that? This is me. I just wanted to say you were right the whole time. I exactly get what you're talking about now. Thanks for that. Because nobody told me. And then they start running down all the names of people that they dealt with. And then it's people who, hold on a second, you dealt with this bay and that L and this bay and they charge you finance? What do you mean they charge you finance? They're charging me finance. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean finance? Then you start realizing that, certain people, they don't want to work. They want to rape their people and justify it. Never went that route. Never will go that route. You think studio time doesn't cost finance or whatever? Where do you think all finance is coming from to go to studio, put all these albums and all that? You think because we're Moors and a Moor has a studio, we're going there and not paying for studio time? That's the Moor's business. You're not going to go leech off the Moor. pay for our hours. We're going to put something in the pot. Even though the Moor's not going to take the finance because he's going to do it for free anyways. You don't rape our people. Don't let any of these people tell you they don't know who Canaanland Moors is. You say, hey, Canaanland Moors, and there's a, huh? Canaanland who? And all that? They're playing games. They're playing games with you. They're definitely playing games with you. Well, it's on more. You know, we already know how Hollywood does it. We already know. The fact that KRS-One doesn't have to pay to play a song. The fact that KRS doesn't have to pay to play a song, and I had to pay to get a song played, and I'm a Moor and all that stuff. KRS talk hella BS about Moors. You should already know what's up. There ain't no way you're playing KRS that much and he doesn't give a shit about Moors. Because if he did, he would be saying that he's a Moor and all that. He would be doing what Bambada did. He'd be saying that he's Bay. He'd be doing what Dougie Fresh and them are doing. With his pops with the fez on and all that. I my gospel of hip hop and all that stuff. We're not dissing, telling you what it is. We're telling you about watch out for the messengers. Get the message and get out the way. These people don't want you to get the message. They want to play games with you. That's even how I met Seton Rabe. He was just out here for Caravana or some shit. You know what? You call the Grand Sheik and freaking see what he's saying. He wasn't out here to be here for the Moors. He was out here. I was like, damn, is that real? Is it really that real? He's telling me that man, I chill with Taj. I be at Taj's house and all that. Like, what? You're in like that? How you in like that? Man, me and Abdullah, man, we're together all the time. What? It's like that? No, I never heard of you. Who are you? Background Moors that you never heard about or will hear about that are just as heavy as whoever you're looking at in the world of view something. Moorish. You got background Moors that heavy. We already know how it goes. We weren't here yesterday. You know, a lot of people might see, you know, the 900 views and the 20,000 subscribers and think, you know, it's probably supposed to be about 50,000 subscribers, 80,000 by now. Because there was about 5 years that we were on 18,000 subscribers. 5 years. You're playing games. Playing games. Don't let them play games with you. Make sure you study. Study, study, study. So don't worry about cards. Don't worry about papers. Don't worry about your light bill is due and you want to discharge the debt and all that BS. You want lights, right? Okay, well, that's a service. What you mean you're going to send something and they're going to just give it to you because this is your land or whatever? Stop the BS. Stop it. Now these people play their little BS games with you. It ain't like that. They're lying. Trying to get you to believe in delusions. Don't fall for the delusions. If they don't work for themselves or work somewhere, they're just out here and they just got everything and you're like, wow, they got everything. And all they do is just sit on their ass or whatever. They're either doing some under the table stuff or they're playing you. And your dumbass giving them all your finance. Because they got a crown on and all that. You got a crown, that means they're the man. Juali's the man. No one else. Anybody else playing games, they're playing you. And if you don't want to go with what Noble Juali said, don't worry. The worst is yet to come. Because Allah is not pleased by the work being done by our people in North America. And the great sin will be removed by any means necessary. So you better make sure that you're not the great sin. You better make sure you're not revolving around individuals who are best friends with the great sin and all that. Stop deluding. Stop clinging to names that delude to slavery and be yourself. We're Moors. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the Moors. The true and faithful Moors. The handful saved Moors. Honors to you. Honors to the Prophet, Noble Juali. We give honors to all the mothers worldwide. We are Moors, not Negro, black, colored, or any of the other fictions. We're Moors. There's Supreme Court cases, Dred Scott case, to show you that you can't be the stuff that they're telling you that you are. You better be what Noble Juali taught you that you are. Because everything else is going to put you in servitude. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, you name it, you're going to be a mental ward. You think that you got stuff going on, but it's not going to be going on. And again, if you haven't, make sure you go watch the movie Cell. Watch the movie Cell. Don't be the people running around the antenna. Don't be them. Free your mind and the rest will follow. Islam to all the Moors. Honors to the Prophet Noble Juali. Islam.
They deliver you back to Smith Johnson. Named in those possession. You want to be European? Go ahead, go serve Rome. Well, I want to be free because in the Missouri Territory is a free state. It ain't got nothing to do with your status is dead. If we don't get it yet, this is what this is all about. See, so if you don't know yourself or if you're mentally disconnected from your state, in a legal perspective, you don't have right of claim. You can't talk property when you don't own yourself. Slave can't own property. See, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do me a UCC, some Sam, and I'm going to secure my property. I'm going to be the secured holder in due course. Smith, Jones, and Johnson? No, you ain't. And it goes back to the same principle where a lot of Europeans are using uniform commercial codes, etc., setting up sovereignty groups, talking about they sovereign. That's a political system. Ain't got nothing to do with spirituality. That judge is a Mason. He already knows. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? In secret, he got a Moorish fez. They just ruling over your land. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They got to pin their tassel down, but they're all mystic prophets. They Renaissance men. They know that the Moors brought them out of darkness from the 13th to the 16th century.
All right, pin your tassel.
The 7 liberal arts.
Pin your tassel down. What does that mean?
Pin the top. Like if you see anybody in them lodges, their tassels are pinned.
And why is that?
See, brother, stand up
Swings, right?
and roll your tassel.
That's right. I know the brother's tassels will be swinging, so that's why I
Yeah,
asked about that.
because we're the heirs.
Okay, well, gotcha. Gotcha.
So we can revolve around the sun.
The tassel pin down for them is because they're sworn seers.
In other words, it's locked down.
Oh, okay, right, gotcha.
All right, can't talk.
Right.
Zip lip.
Right,
Do you understand?
got it.
All right, now see, so that's why when Martin started talking about the Great Seal,
Don't even know. I don't care. I would not want
32-degree Mason, 33 really.
Okay.
You know, got a certificate with a holy name saying Assalamu alaikum. That's why he started talking about the mountaintop. Well, you can't talk on the Don. You can't serve two masters. And overseers don't have retirement communities. Everybody knows. It's just they ain't really trying to liberate the followers. That's what the problem is. They enjoy all the benefits and the kickbacks.
But look what you got. You got garbage, and you think it's all right. This is what I don't understand.
Well, it's like this.
Things we could really have.
Well, some people are willing to give up their birthright for a few pieces of silver. And they ain't even allowed to have the silver or gold. They get slugs. I'm getting paid. And you tell them what? Some of them ain't been paid in a long time. But anyway, in support for everybody, so that our concepts are correct, right? This is Georgie. And you already know Chief Justice Muali suggested that he take Ben Franklin's place because they were all set as ministers plenipotentiary when the treaty was being formulated. And so Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson were set to be the first European praetors under the Republic after the formulation of the Ordinance of 1787. Then the adoption of the Constitution 1788 is what Obama's talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And then so he was an Army general. And because Ben Franklin claimed to be ill, George was suggested to be appointed. He wasn't elected. He was appointed to the palace on the word of Chief Justice Muali, who you may know as Ben Banneker. You understand? You see his Masonic garb? Now, this is from Documents of American History. It's not going to be in your ordinary school books. This is a controlled stock book. Not this particular lesson book, but I'm just saying the Documents of American History, that's for all you scholars. If y'all want to do some research, you're not going to easily find it. But for those who have access, this is where you'll find it. Now, letter from George Washington to Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Sultan of Morocco, City of New York, December 1, 1789. And as you all know, he was appointed to the palace April of that same year. So as you know, he's been in office about 7 months, right? All right. Now, since the date, great and magnanimous friends, since the date of the letter which the late Congress by their president addressed your Imperial Majesty, so you can see from the first line that he was not the first president, but you know that the masses are under the illusion that George Washington was the first president, because that's what they're taught. So immediately you can see that the masses are miseducated. So you already know they're out of sequence, out of time, out of harmony, and are not up with the rest of the civilized world. So there's no way that their children are going to compete with anybody. But they're going to tell you about Jesus, God, Allah, Moses, Muhammad, and they don't even know what's going on in front of them. This is the source of their injury and their sickness. Go ahead, good brother.
Can you bring that picture back? Can you take it up?
Oh, this is what?
Yeah, they found this in Akhenaten's grave in the Second Dynasty. This is the Mason, because we are Masons. That's what they built with. And the robe was found on him too. Everything you see here,
all the garbage,
is all your stuff. They took it out of the grave in Kemet, and they put it themselves, and they brought it here. All this belongs to you. Even the steps here. That's your square.
Now the cubes or the checker floor, that's Asar Aset, upper world, underworld. The day and the night. All right? Sunset, sunrise. Are we clear? Higher self, lower self. Duality. Feminine, masculine. Are we clear?
I see. I checked it.
Now, since the date of the letter which the late Congress by their president addressed your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America, I thought proper to change their government and institute a new one agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor herewith to enclose a copy. The time necessarily employed in the arduous task and the disarrangements occasioned by so great though peaceable revolution will apologize and account for your Majesty's not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded reason to expect. United States having unanimously appointed me to supreme executive authority in this nation, your Majesty's letter of August 17, 1788, which by reason of the dissolution of the late government remained unanswered, has been delivered to me. I have also received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind as to write in favor of the United States to the Bashars of Tunis and Tripoli, and I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship for them. We greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies toward this nation who have never injured them is not to be removed on terms of our power to comply with. Within our territories there are no mines, whether of gold or silver, and this young nation, just recovering from the waste and dissolution of a long war, have not as yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce, but our soil is bountiful and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. The encouragement with which your Majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions. So where do you think that you're standing, you all?
Moorish dominions.
These are Moorish dominions. Now you understand the seals on the back of that note and why nobody speaks under the Great Seal? The punctuality with which you have caused a treaty with us to be observed. See what Obama was talking about when he went to Ecupta? And the just and generous measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor make a deep impression on the United States and confirm their respect for and attachment to your Imperial Majesty. So as you can see, the United States of America is an appendage of the Moroccan Empire, and you're the Masonic secret. It gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity of assuring your Majesty that while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony which so happily subsists between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy on every occasion of convincing your Majesty of the high sense which in common with the whole nation I entertain the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your Majesty. May the Almighty bless your Imperial Majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection. Just the opening statement on the preamble. And so I'm sure that you will recognize these names of these ministers plenipotentiary, even though they don't teach our children in school, so you can understand the relationship that you actually have with this government that's not being taught to you, and that you are actually the sovereigns who have actually been overthrown, and why the so-called black leaders are paid to keep feeding that black and white stuff to you, because they don't want you to know that you are the Moors, the heirs to this estate. And by hiding this information, they can declare you incompetent and then slowly kill you off with biological warfare, which is what the King Alfred is. And that's why they have black leaders running around with their fake spirituality, because spirituality means breath and the art of breathing. Are we clear? Spirituality is not praying. It means breath, the art of breath, the techniques of breathing, the cleansing of the cells by breathing techniques. Religion is the philosophy that goes with it. They go together, but yet they're separate subject matter. The masses are being played, have been played, and are still being played by the priesthood. If you kill the mystery, the priesthood can't do their dirty deeds no more. And they and their mystery Satan can both be buried in their grave pit that they prepared for you. Preamble, Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1786, 1787. Keep in mind, Ordinance of 1787, then the adoption of the Constitution for United States of America, 1788, 1789. You see where Georgie is making reference to correspondence even to 1788. So the Constitution was adopted. The principles already existed. It's adopted from Muslim law. You see what Obama was talking about? With many people just went over their head what he was talking about. And he's sending messages to you because he's limited. He's only a figurehead like the rest of them. See, so he has to play what you call fine line, but he's been doing the best he can to send signals to you.
Yeah. Question. So what's this whole thing now, this anti-Islamic thing
That's the Inquisition operations.
Okay.
ISIS is run from Langley, Virginia.
Right.
And from Ankara, Turkey, from their embassy. This is why, now keep in mind, I want you to look at this. Hold that thought. Hold this thought. I'm going to go to Hillary's picture from the Ben Franklin room. We're going to read this first part, then we'll show you something. To all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America in Congress assembled by their commission bearing date, the 12th day of May, 1784, thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, their ministers plenipotentiary, giving to them, or majority of them, full powers to confer, treat, negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco concerning a treaty of amity and commerce, to make and receive propositions for such treaty, and to conclude and sign the same, transmitting to the United States in Congress assembled for their final ratification. So you already know that they don't teach Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin in this context to our children in school. They have no idea that they are subordinate to the Moroccan Empire, which is these people who are put in slavery, who think they Indians and blacks, who don't know their bloodline. Do you understand? And they wonder why they've been robbed, why we poor. You've been robbed. This is why they have in the Masonic order the ritual with Hiram Abiff, struck in the head, jubilo, jubilo, jubilum. England, Ireland, France. Yeah. Now let's keep this in mind. This is where they get the title that they use in their lodges, potentate. Ministers, plenty potentiary. Most plentiful powers. Yeah, right. Now, keep in mind what you just read, right? Just that little part, right? Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. Now, you know Hillary's a DAR, right? Everybody know that. During the American Revolution. Now, you know they was doing gun running with that embassy. And when they burned that embassy, being a DAR, she spoke from the Ben Franklin room. That's private. They don't make any public speeches from the ministers' plenipotentiary rooms. Why is Hillary speaking from the Ben Franklin room and displaying the real American flag? 3 times. Do you get the message? Oh, we're not really holding slavery here. We ain't really. It's not really. Well, yes, they are. But that's a message to the world. Do you understand? And then they'll turn around and talk about, oh, they don't know who the Moors are. They don't know the lands of Morocco. The Stars and Stripes is the amity and commerce flag that's mentioned in the treaty. That red flag with the 5-pointed green star is the Al-Moroccan flag, the American flag. The great Masonic secret, again, right in your face. Now you understand the red ruby slippers, Dorothy?
I got it now. Yes.
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 Lion of Judah, ain't got no courage. Straw man, 14th Amendment. Tin Man, Rusty, they cribbed your industry. Yellow Brick Road, Zodiac Constitution right in the courtyard of City Hall right here in Philadelphia, where they have the Mummers Parade. The ending of the parade at the Grand Lodge, 1 North Broad Street. And the City Hall Battleground, designed just like a mosque, with the parapet at the North Gate, with Billy Penn chartered, standing 23.5 degrees east by northeast, facing the lodge, and the parade ends.
Right.
And the cornerstone is in a grave pit right in the dark north, with men holding up the pillars of Atlas, Morocco. They're talking to you even in the architecture. Then you have the birth canal, west, go west, young man, Horace Greeley. And then you got the birth canal with the nations of the earth on both sides of the birth canal up into the Museum of Art with Eakins oval at the steps. And from the air, the museum is M, Mother. Go ahead, good brother.
Peace. Can I add on to that?
Go ahead, good brother.
Facing south, they have so-called slaves under the pillars, but above the slaves are statues of people, of so-called pharaohs.
Yeah, sure. And then you've got the animals. Yeah. What was one of our favorite pets? Elephant? Oh, all right.
So facing
Goodness.
south, what's above the archway?
It's,
If you go out that south gate and you look up, what's above the archway?
I see the two.
No, it's a word.
He says,
It's a word, justice.
Justice.
mm-hmm.
Only above the south gate.
Oh yeah, the south side.
Yeah, only above that south gate.
Yes.
Y'all got to take the opportunity to go down to City Hall and check out what Taj is telling you, because it's right there. It's in your face. Just walk around the building. I mean, look up. Look at the architecture that's outside of the building.
Like when I was looking up, I've seen it for years, but I didn't really see the pharaohs or the people of Kemet at the top until I was started chilling out in the Borders. And I was up in the section when Borders had a bookstore. I would be up there at the book section, and it's a section over there closer to the window, and you can clearly see it. The man and the woman dressed in the whole Kemetic attire. And you're like, wow. In your face.
Yes, I know. Oh. Anyway, so this is to, it's 2 things, sis. See, so if you, I, or anyone else claim to be Indians or Native American or any of the code words, brands that they created, you give up your birthright. You see? Because the only way you can use the common law is the honor of your mothers and fathers. You are either in honor or you're in dishonor. And that's how the common law is used. Thus, a lot of Europeans got frustrated. That's why you see a lot of so-called wealthy Europeans. What have they done? They denounce their U.S. citizenship, go to some other nation state and try to nationalize and try to move an account there. Then with House Joint Resolution 2847, they lock them in. And they take in 55 to 60% of all of their stuff, and they're not opening up any new so-called American accounts in all of Europe, Africa, anywhere else. So they're kind of locked in. Now, let's review what you just said. Are they Americans? Can they be sovereign here? Oh, well, this is very simple. So, I mean, the traps they set for us is now trapping them.
Well, when you really look at the society, you pay close attention, a lot of the stuff they bring our way, it comes right back in their face.
Exactly.
Case in point, heroin.
But look at us, collectively. Why is it that we continue to suffer? We continue to suffer because we refuse to honor our mothers and our fathers. We keep continuously trying to declare to the civilized world that human beings are crayons. We put it on our babies. They get destroyed, and then we blame it on the devil, because that's what we learned from the overseers. Keep telling you that, who are really working for Rome, helping in the genocide of your families, so they can get a skull and bones 501c3 kickback, and telling you that that's their blessing from God for teaching the word.
Well, you know, the churches now, they're telling them they're going to have to pay taxes. Have you read that lately?
They're broke.
They're full of crap, and they got what do you call what do you call those machines?
ATM.
ATM.
Oh, in the church?
Yeah. Oh, the mega churches. Those mega churches. Tithe is a tax. Tithe means that means 10% Roman tax. Ain't got nothing to do with no Jesus. It's Pope Sylvester II. 10% Roman tax for their overseas set in the state. Please. They tax.
Wasn't it Creflo Dollar that said people who don't pay their taxes should be shot? Oh yeah, go to YouTube. He said if it was up to him, he'd line them up and shoot them down with automatic weapons.
He's trying to get a new jet. That's probably why.
Yeah, what, $20 million jet?
Yeah.
So you don't think they're
shooting down with that one.
I want to know, you just said honor the mothers and the fathers. So, as a collective, do we honor them at an altar? Do we honor them? How would you honor them?
By being yourself.
Okay, so I'm being myself. But
All right, what does that mean? No, what does that mean? Because it has a meaning in law. See, because people say that does not mean that they're either worthy or that they're truthful. Because if one is being oneself, you're being in propria persona, and sui juris, and thus sui heritis. So what is being yourself?
claiming your name?
Meaning, no. That's minor. That's like kind of straightening up the sheet on your bed. Not necessarily cleaning your room. But when universally, in law, nations are extended families, the honor of your mothers and fathers go back to time immemorial. Not just current or saying because I'm Afrocentric or something like that. That means you must have an idea what the culture is. And it must be reflective of you. And you must, do you know about the Renaissance? What that means? What does Renaissance mean? It means to be born again. That's where they get that in their great circle, which is called church. Church means the circle. Do you know what the circle is? There's nothing wrong with not knowing, but I'm just saying, so don't assume that people, when they say they know themselves or they're being themselves, that they are. Because if they are, they know these things because they know that's the foundational culture on the planet. And the one who's controlling their estate, they know what they're using. They know why they have that Sphinx head and the Moorish sword above that crescent above that Sphinx head. So if you know yourself, you're already familiar with this and you could deduce it yourself. See, because if you know yourself, you know the culture and you know how we got here. And you also know how we got to get out. So you would never be slipping up calling these people black and then having to qualify yourself afterwards. And you wouldn't slip out and call this European sovereign by calling him white man and say, oh, but you know what I mean. You wouldn't even slip making those kind of statements. As soon as you do, you've lost your argument. And you're back into wardship. And so you want to make sure that we don't pass that poison to our children or to the other people who really don't know what's going on, but think they are Afrocentric because they say so. They can't live it, they can't demonstrate it in law. They're just talking. It's like saying, you know, I'm a surgeon, man. You got a headache? My boy here, he tight, man. So come on in and he fix you up. And he said, oh, yeah, man, I've got a headache and everything. Lay upon the table. Let me place my hands upon thee. And they rolled out this dirty towel with rusty butter knives. I think you should get up and run while you're ahead. Just because they say they're surgeon, you should know what the tools are and should recognize them immediately. So don't assume that because somebody declared their name and their nationality that they know themselves. What that means is that they're making the effort to the civilized world to demonstrate to the civilized world that I'm trying to show that I'm in honor. I'm speaking up. I'm not abandoning my estate. Now, what do you do after you start cleaning the floor? You got to start arranging your furniture back. And if they see you ain't able to do that, you're not competent yet. You'll still be classified as colored. A semblance, a simulacrum, distinguished from that which is real. That's why these people are classified as colored people, which means fake people. Do you understand? And so you need to know why even these categories are even created for people who are in dishonor. And they think it's an identity. You see? So what, if you know yourself, you already know what these tools are and what they're used for. And you also know how to cut them off to redeem your people. That's the first signal of you knowing yourself. All right? And the Renaissance is where the Moors from the 13th century to the 16th century went into Europe and brought the European out of darkness into marvelous light, i.e., to wash away what is called the medieval period of ignorance set forth by the popes of Rome. What they have done since here is reverse the table and put our people into darkness. That's what the black codes are. See, so if you know what's up, you can tell who's amongst you, who's COINTELPRO-operatives for Rome, just by their language. Because culture is in the language. And so if you know yourself, you already know the game because you know the deck. You know, oh yeah, we keep losing. You talking about you going down to AC, we got our, you know, this is my daughter's old maid deck. You know, the one with the gold fringe around there. We're going down to AC, we're going to come back with a Corvette. And then you say, oh, Taj, I think you should save your bus fare. No, man, I'm spending everything because I'm coming back and get paid. They say, what Taj you got, man? He ain't came back yet. Oh, we passed him on the highway. He walking. He just spent some nuts money. He come back with nothing, going down there impressed with yourself with your old maid car, going to go down to AC and win. And this is what we do with our so-called beliefs. Go into the civilized world, think we're going to come out being winners, and we always get screwed. Then we want to march and pray and start some new nigger group to march and pray and have vigils. The first signal that these people don't know themselves. This is why we have to take you to stuff like this, to let you know the whole world already knows who you are. They're waiting on you. Only thing holding you up is your own people. And we busy keep trying to be somebody we're not. And everybody's sucking on us. While we, you know, we get around to it. You know, so if you know yourself, you just be yourself. And it changes the energy around you. And then you transfer it to others. When the mind changes, you'll change the atmosphere because it's all about energy and vibration. Change the vibration, the sicknesses go away. The sicknesses exist because the mental state is dead. It's not because of the viruses. They can't beat you. They only beat you because your immune system is down, because your mind is down. You see? So this is really mundane, to be honest with you. Because you're actually going to move far beyond this, truthfully. But it's only a stage to clean up some of the trash out of the people's mental so that they can move on to some higher degrees. But unless we sweep the floor, we ain't getting rid of the roaches. So this is to get rid of the roaches. misconceptions. But after you get rid of this, don't linger on this, because this is really behind the times. But it's just that we got to clean the people's head up so they can spiritually and metaphysically deal with other information that will bring other solutions. But if you don't take the aggregate trash out, it's like throwing clean water in a cup of dirty cup with dirty, muddy stuff in it. So you got to dump out that other stuff. And people aren't exactly willing to do that. So this is, of course, sort of like reducing the trash. But understand, you're going to graduate far beyond this. This is only for cleansing purposes only. In fact, it's very mundane, but necessary for the moment. Because if we don't clean the aggregate, you're not going to do any refinement. That's all. So I'm just telling you that also ahead of time. You understand? See, so if you can get the people to understand, to get mentally reconnected to this land, to themselves, the vampires can't work too good. It's sort of like this window compared to that window. As soon as you bring light in, vampires, they get kind of different. Really. They can't, they're not too good in light. And knowledge is light. You start telling the truth, their eyebrows start wrinkling. They start getting angry. They start, boogies start running and stuff. It's for real. You take this information around a lot of people that's smiling and keep talking about the Lord and Jesus and Allah, and if you start talking this information and watch the expression on their face turn, they'll morph right in front of you. Demons will be exposed. They get really upset. They start farting and everything. Anyway.
I got a question right quick. And I want y'all to be honest. Just raise your hand, show of hands. How many people refer to themselves as black? Just be honest. How many people in this room refer to yourselves as black? Be honest. Put your hands back up so I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've been in class with us for a long time, so you know better.
Yeah, I know.
But for those of you, and you know better too. That's my sister I'm pointing to. So y'all know she knows better. Right? The reason I ask that question is this. I understand what we've been taught, and I understand that we've been indoctrinated. I too used to call myself black. After my very first class with him and Abdullah Bey, I never uttered it again. Once I understood that it was a legal status that said that I was dead, civilly dead in the eyes of the law, when I understood that it says I don't matter to anybody else but to other black people, I was done with saying it. It's a legal status. If I ask people all the time, what's your nationality? And either they stutter, or they say I don't know, or they'll say African American. And then I ask them, well, where's Africa American? And they can't tell me. So then I tell them about their nationality. And then I talk to them about being black. I understand, it's emotional. People say that bad habits are hard to break, but habits can be broken. Habits can be broken. If I've been eating meat, knowing it's dead, and it can't bring me life, once I understand that it can't bring me life and it can't nourish my body, I should stop eating. They say people, when you know better, you do better. Well, people are supposed to stop at stop signs, but they don't do it. When you know better, you should do better. I can't say when you know better, you do better, because people don't. People don't. I understand the emotionalism behind saying we're black. Black power, unity, and all of that other nonsense. But where's it going to get us? Where has it got us? Nowhere. When Ralph Bunche went to the United Nations as a black man, they sent him home. Just a little while ago, what's the brother's name that got shot in St. Louis? Michael Brown. When Michael Brown's mother and father went to the United Nations to plead their case, they got sent home. And everybody was upset. Why did they send them home? Because they went up against black people. Black people don't exist. You know why nobody ain't say nothing about it?
Especially A. Sharpton.
You know why nobody say nothing about it? Because then it has to be explained.
Right.
Now it's got to be explained. Why don't you want to hear from black people? Why they say black lives don't matter? You damn right they don't matter. They don't exist.
Never even bring it up.
We are a nation of people. We are a nation of people. Good, bad, or indifferent. We are a nation of people. People say, oh, I can't, that's not my religion. Listen, understand what true religion is. And understand what doctrine is. Follow whatever doctrine you want. I don't care. Understand who you are. You come from a nation of people. You don't come from a color of people. Only on this land, listen, I've been to Europe 4 times. Nobody in Europe has ever called me black. Ever. And we talking about Europeans, the people y'all call white. They never call me black, not once. They wait for me to speak. And they hear my dialect and they say, you're American. If I was from Jamaica or somewhere else in the Caribbean, they would hear that. If I was from the west coast of Africa or the east coast of Africa, they could hear that, the same as you can. And they would say, oh, you West African or you East African. No, they said I was American. They never called me black. It's only here. It's only us. It's a legal status. Look it up. If you need more information, then come see me. We got a host of DVDs over there with all of this information on it. All these websites.
With DN.
All of these books with all this information on it. The reason I asked about black is because, now I know some people didn't raise their hands, probably out of embarrassment, or they didn't want to be pointed out, but ain't nobody here to embarrass y'all. We're here to uplift fallen humanity because we fell. Now it's time for us to get the hell up.
Got that right.
Y'all ready to stand on your feet?
Yeah.
Y'all ready to make some things happen?
Yeah.
Then let's make some things happen. You want to change your people, you got to change their literature, change the way they think, change the way they move, change the way they operate. Until you change your thinking, you ain't going to change nothing else.
That's right.
Your children going to come up in the same rut that we in right now. The same rut that we in right now. If y'all want to get out, then let's get out. I'm saying it's as simple as that. If you want to get out, then let's get out. First step, knowing yourself, correct your status. Correct your legal status. Because as long as you keep running around saying, I'm black, she's white, this, that, you're going to stay where you at. They're going to continue to look at you and treat you and operate the way they want to. You can run around and chase after all these UCC packets and all of that other nonsense. They're charging y'all how many hundreds of notes. Or you can come here and you can get the truth from me, from Taj, and from whoever else, and we ain't charging you with anything. When JW passed around that sheet, donations are accepted, but not mandatory. We ain't charging you to walk through that door. We welcoming you through the door. Why? Because we need to uplift our people. If y'all want to get up, then let's get up. Islam.
Thank you, brother. And keep in mind that the Europeans are operating under rules of bottomry contracts. Sister Anissa and Brother Nabi is in the back, and they got your colors there. Always fly your colors. Keep in mind, and your pins, and anybody needs feathers, etc., go see Brother Nabi and Sister Anissa. Keep that in mind. And if you need something later, get cards from them so you can communicate with them later in the future. I hope we got enough on you. Anyway, now before you, you have a copy of the trust and the quitclaim deed. I'm going to move fast because we have some good company here. A good friend, Brother Shemaiah. Stand up, good brother. Yeah. But goes way back. Very enlightened brother. Very low-key, but very enlightened. He's a scholar, too. So keep in mind, so keep communicating with him. So I'm going to try to move on so he can share with us some information that he has to help uplift fallen humanity. In front of you is the deed of trust. Your quitclaim deed. As we went through House Joint Resolution 192, as you recall, we didn't go through the whole thing, but keep in mind they hypothecated with the operations set forth by Woodrow Wilson in 1913, all properties, all labor, all parks, all so-called assets under House Joint Resolution Number 2. That refers to actually what was done in 1871 with the hypothecation, or what they call the overthrow, the coup. That's what's made reference in 192, and that Tropicon is talking about. This is why this is done. This is giving you a pattern, whereas you can take the coordinates of your house, your property, etc., make your claim, file it in the county under miscellaneous. Are we clear? Because it's a state. Understand, the straw is also an estate. This is why you must speak of the straw secondary to yourself, and you must be in your proper person. And say, for people who have difficulty learning or getting the concept, this would be a pattern for you to initiate, like on an immediate tip for yourself or your families. But we always make available to you other information so that you can make reference to the legal terms, because you must be competent in what's being presented. Are we clear? You also must be competent in the real history, so that when they try to counter you, you can put them in their place. Because as soon as they test you and they see that you really don't know what the swell you're talking about, they're going to put a barrister knight on you called the Bar Association. And of course, a man who can't present him or herself will be represented by another man. Particularly people who are using their names. All right? So this is the aid you and help you. So let's go along with this. Somebody get up and read the first part. Anybody volunteers? And speak loudly. Did I hear a pin drop on this carpet?
You guys still volunteers for to read?
I don't know how to read.
All right.
I read.
Now, the trust is on the front, but oh, we just got the trust, not the quick clean deed. All right, so the trust. Anyway, listen. Everything that you allege to own, so-called houses, property, etc., is put in the corporate state trust. Are you aware? Everybody aware of that? Huh? All right, you know, like say you buy, you make a transaction and get a vehicle, and you're operating under the concept that you own it. Well, they give you a certificate of title, which is a designation that there's a title existing somewhere. It is not the title. The original manufacturer's title of origin is presented to the corporate state under the doctrine of discovery. And they put it in their corporate trust for the popes of Rome under the Spanish Inquisition. Are we clear? You don't have the title. Are we clear? Also, we're going to create an instrument, although we've done it before. You can do it in ordinary letter form, to the CEO of the corporate entity operatives in the territories that you might domicile, and command that they send you the original manufacturer's title of origin to the vehicle, your car, your truck, your bicycle, motorcycle, three-wheel, tricycle, whatever. Tell them to send you stuff. Are we clear? And then put it in your trust. Are we clear? So you take your house with its coordinates, etc., put it on your trust, understand? Take your sneaks, the ones that got the diamonds in the back, that light up when you run, put them in your trust. Are we clear? Anything of any value, because anything that has any value is already hypothecated by the deputy knights, who are really front men for the deputy knights of the popes of Rome under the Roman Curia. Those front men are called congressmen and senators whose posts don't really exist. The real Congress for the United States Corporation is the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. Shadow government. Are we clear? Knowing that, don't fool yourself, don't get twisted. Are we clear? If you understand what's really going on, understand what everybody knows already but you. Are we clear? Clear. This is what this is for. When you start dispensing this information in law, you're demonstrating that the heirs of the estate are competent, that they're heirs and they're speaking up, although suppressed. By law, national and international, the administrators of the trust must release the estate to the competent heirs, for they are now, in law, descendable. That means the land and the resources. And of course, all instruments that they have around the world, which would include those birth certificates, where they took the baby's foundation, which is their footprint, and stamped it, and then said that the mother, as an informer, sold the baby to Rome. That's what those birth certificates are for. Then the marriage certificates, DAR, codes noir, which means they sold all the eggs in the uterus and the fallopian tubes to the popes of Rome. That's what the marriage certificate is. And that's filed in the Department of Orphans, which automatically makes the children not descendable, even the unborn. Wow. And then the reverend gets a kickback for delivering them to the Pope in the name of Jesusness. It forestalls that. And just like the Wizard of Oz, you see when the good witch, the good wise woman, said, "Hey Doc, I noticed that you was checking out them Gucci kicks." You know, because the house fell on the bad witchy. And her red ruby slippers were sticking out from underneath the house. And so Doc said, "Oh, I'm just so scared. I just want to go home." And so the good witch said, "Don't worry about a thing, Doc. Got your cover, girl. Ching." And then there's red ruby slippers dumped on. Said, "Oh, check this out." Anyway, point being is that the house dropped on a bad witch, right? In my father's house, there's many mansions. House of the Zodiac, get it? And then her socks curled up. Stockings. Stocks curled up. So when you start making your claim, all them stocks they got around the world in the treasuries, remember the treasury? They don't get compensated because they transferred the treasury to popes of Rome? Oh, all right. So they start curling up, don't they? So, any nation state that bought into them UST bonds to support their human trafficking under those bottomry instruments curls up. They ain't no good. So how long do you think the rest of the nations of the world can keep on playing this game with this Roman while their treasuries are curling up and are absolutely worth less? It's kind of hard to keep that game up, isn't it? So they're going to have to get rid of them T-bonds. Meanwhile, so write this down because I'm going to start cutting out because of time. Those stocks are dying. They're trying to dump them as fast as they can without crashing their economies, which is crashing anyway. And everybody's trying to avoid to tell the heirs of the estate what's really been going on, which is you. Then the Europeans trying to claim to be sovereign Americans, which they're not. Then with the Special Committee of 24 set forth with the nations of the earth, particularly reinforcing since 1960, which is the decolonization of all colonial operative governments, with the Aboriginal people being nationalized concurrent with the activation of decolonization. It has not taken place, therefore the heirs are behind the curve, while the politicians, and they're paid off for a few pieces of lead, zinc covered stuff that they think is money, selling their own people out. So this is again why we're doing this, because as soon as this stuff goes out, it starts killing the rest of the stuff that they got. So you don't necessarily need to know a lot of other stuff. You just need to start demonstrating that you're a little bit competent. So we're telling you why you get this stuff studied too. It's not complex, but do study. So we try to make sure that you have some support literature, etc. This is what this is for. Excuse me just a minute, you all. I'll release this thing. This is what this is for, and as it goes out, I suggest that you study, because they're trying to liquidate, meaning that, how many people know that all of the ports along the west coast of the entire continent, except for a couple of them in Mexico, all belong to China now? How many know that? How many know that 60% of all of your major prime property in Lower Manhattan now belongs to China? How many of you know that Chase Manhattan's, JP Morgan's main building worth about 4.5 billion was sold to China 2 years ago for 720 million? How many people know that that longshoreman strike at the Twin Ports in Los Angeles and Long Beach are not strikes, they're embargoes, blockades? How many of you know that those oil tankers here in Philadelphia since November that just left a couple weeks ago, offloading is an embargo? Well, you better catch up with what's happening in the real world, because it's happening right around you. Do you understand? How many of you know that all of the stores, Target stores in Canada, closed down? And that they're moving stock to stores here to make it look like we got some stuff left, y'all? How many of y'all know that Sears is getting ready to close down? How many of you know that Radio Shack's getting ready to close down? How many of you know that a lot of you JP Morgan's getting ready to close down? How many of you know that some of your major food chains is getting ready to close down? How many y'all know that y'all in trouble?
Everybody knows that.
All right. We're not going to go on, because you know we can be here all night. But we love you. We thank you for coming out. Again, Sabrina, you was out before, but you're not out now. Stand up. They make it happen. And you know how they say, behind every good man is a good woman. And she makes his brother work, and I love this brother, and I love this sister. To me, you're a rare jewel, and you're blessed. Give her a hug. Give him a hand. So Samara, come on. This brother go way back. Low key. And let me tell you about culture. This brother knows the culture. And he come out here to share with us some information. I wish we had some more time. And all I can say, Shemaiah, do your thing, brother.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Joe.
Oh, just a minute.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not rushing.
Just a minute.
The reason
yeah, go ahead. Oh, excuse me just a minute. Sis. Is there someone I see in the audience that's over there with the technical skills and ability? Can you come up here just for 1 minute? Don't you even try to act like I don't see you. But I know the sister, we gotta back her home, y'all, because we gotta fix some things.
Are you talking about me?
Oh, yes. Now, some spiders attacked her, but she didn't tell you that. But just drop a little bit. I want you all to know that Rashay is running for mayor.
Okay.
Sister, intelligent, and she's licensed in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey as an attorney. And she knows the background of the barristers, but understand that our heart is for us. We'll be distributing some information so everybody can give her some support. And we don't have the mic right now, but drop a little bit.
Okay. Hotep, everyone.
Hotep.
I'm here today because I actually wanted to come out to see Taj in action. This is actually the first time I've actually seen him and actually teaching a crowd. I've had several private conversations with him, teaching sessions actually, and he's actually enlightened me a lot. You know, there's a lot that I know, but there's also a lot that I don't know. And one of the reasons that I am running for mayor is because I really believe in our people, and our people need help right now. And one of the things that I am about is I'm about action and not just talking. Now, I was on my way to New York, okay, moving. However, what needs to be done right here, right now, because of everything that's happening, you know, Taj, he mentioned a lot of stuff that's happening, like with the embargo and everything. What's going on right now is that, you know, the time for us to act right now is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, it is now. And if we don't act now, then we're doomed. And that is the reality. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter, you know, what you have, what you don't have, because this is about our people. And our people are not ready. They're not ready. So what I am doing right now with my team and is that we're actually building a new party. And the party is called the Universal Party, okay? And the Universal Party objective is to restore the Republic. That's the objective. And in, you know, and in restoring the Republic, what does that mean? That means enlightening our people so that they will know their status. All right? Because if they don't know their status, what's to come? Okay, historically, if you know history, if you know what has happened legally, what happens is, if you don't know who you are, then what they do is they throw you into concentration camps. And that is to come, and it is coming. It's happening now, whether you believe it or not. And I'm here, and like he said, okay, I'm licensed in 3 states. I see what happens when I go into the courtroom. I see how they treat our people, okay? You're guilty before you even step into the courts. And knowing what we know is not enough to just know. We have to share the information. We have to enlighten these people. We have to bring them, you know, we have to make sure that they know what is going on so that when the time comes, they will be able to save themselves. Otherwise, they'll remain slaves and they will throw them into concentration camps. And it is our responsibility, it is our duty, it is my duty to do what I am doing. I'm not doing this because I want to be mayor. I am doing this because I must do this. This is my purpose, this is my responsibility. And I'm not going to sit around and wait for somebody else to step up to the plate and say, wake up, people. So what I'm here to do is to ask for your assistance. We need volunteers. We need individuals who are willing to run for office, because we want a slate. We want individuals who are going to be committed to this. You have to be committed to saving the people, not committed to your pocketbook, because it's not about the fiat. This is about the estate that we allowed for them to take from us. That's what it's about, because they could not have done what they did unless we permitted them to do it. And that's what happened, so we have to stop blaming them for where we are and just step up and take it back. And that's where I am.
All right.
All right? Thank you. Right. Excuse me.
Tamaya, put on your Teflon skates, brother, and come on, moonwalk on.
Yeah, I got some heavy shoes to follow.
All right, good brother.
Might hook this up
Do
real
you need
quick.
to hook it up?
Yeah.
Hey, Tom. Right on the floor.
Nah, good, thank
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, some of you know me already. I'm Tiger Ravenel. I'm one of the party leaders working with Rashia Harmon, concerned for mayor. And the party office, Universal Party, is at 1211 Vine Street. Okay, 1211 Vine Street. You can come there and register. We're suggesting people wait till after May 19th, because you still want to vote. If you're voting, you want to vote Democrat or Republican or whatever the issue is. But if you don't care about that and you want to really take charge and help us get this thing rolling, then just come down right away and register Universal. Okay, 1211 Vine Street. Okay, we're there. Where we've been working is 24 hours. So we're there Monday through Friday. Okay, day and night, pretty much. Thank you.
Tiger. Also, anyone needs notary, address, give them the location again. Tiger.
Yeah, I'm a notary public. I've been doing a lot of excessive work concerning people's status with the Attorney General's office. So if you understand what the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure is, Rule 5.1. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure, Rule 5.1. That's the constitutional challenge against the statutes of that particular jurisdiction, in this case, Pennsylvania. And what happens is it allows you to change your status from where you are now to where you should have been, being in your own state. Pennsylvania has legislation under the Constitution as far back as 1776, and as recent as 1968, including all amendments, establishing that special law does not supersede general law. So let me give you an example. In 2005, Rendell signed into law that all insurance agents cannot renew their licenses until they file their tax returns. That's special law. I got caught up in that, not knowing about it until now. I got caught up about it and lost $850 because of that mess. Okay, so special law, you do not want to interfere in what you're doing. When they stop you on the street and they give you a ticket, they're interacting with you with special law, not general law. You do not have to be detained. Do you understand? So this kind of stuff. Now I can't write it. You got to understand what it is. I can show you what mine looks like, and you'll get an idea of the work it takes to put this stuff together, and then you'll send it off. The Attorney General will not respond. Some history, go back to the 1863, the Libra Code. If you're not familiar with that, bring a disc with you, and I'll download it to you, or eventually have you emailed or whatever the issue is, because that is the beginning of the war powers. By 1933, the War Powers Act was codified in Title 50, and that's the alien property custodian. You were seized. Okay, I'll repeat. You were seized. You were seized. And they pledge your, not money, your property, your estate, you. Everything you create, just like the Roman Empire went and took a land, and they killed a few people, but they left everybody alive, and so they keep reproducing, and they took what was there and left you enough just to survive. That's going on now, right? The job, right? Okay, that's what's going on right now. This is the Roman Empire extracting from you, and every time you produce something, they take it. That's one of the reasons why the banks can foreclose on you. That's one of the reasons why you're working so hard at the job, and they paying you from your trust, and not getting anything. The whole time you're volunteering to work at the job. You're not getting paid anything from them. So you're being rudely seized, and your life is being taken. You're drained, and this is what it's about. So with this constitutional challenge against the statutes, stipulating the statutes of Pennsylvania or some other state, whatever state you're from, you can actually challenge that. They will have to let you go, and they will not respond. They will not be able to respond because you're dealing with general law. Any other questions on that? I didn't get in touch with you.
You said one that's a statute.
No, rule, no.
No, answer the question in the back.
Federal rules.
Sorry. Have him answer the question in the back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I got carried away here.
All right. Go see him in the back.
All right.
And remember the office. Rashad, stand up again, y'all. Give her a hand.
Once again, my name is Shemaiah Bay. The reason I'm here, Brother Jim asked me to come out, Brother Sunra, Brother Taj. A little different than Moorish law, Moorish science that you all have been educated by Brother Taj. I was presented here, brought here with regards to our voice. And come to understand that the way the divine creator made us, that in addition to us having speaking power, there's a science within our voice. The science within our voice can determine why we have high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, some other type of disease in the body. How we determine that is by the vibrations in our voice. The way the divine creator made us, we have something called a throat. Most people are familiar with the throat. Most people have heard of something called laryngitis before. Have you ever heard of laryngitis? But laryngitis is related to something called, these nerves in your throat called the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Recurrent laryngeal nerve. These nerves, if you ever, the light switch ever went out in your house, you had to go to the junction box and flip the switch. Well, inside of our throats, this number 9 nerve within our throat is responsible for when as our heart are beating now, our blood cells are replicating, as our bile is going in our pancreas, or our insulin is going in our pancreas, how our fingernails are growing, our hair, all this stuff is happening on a subconscious level, things that we don't have to worry about. With regards to that, that information is transported from our brain through the various parts of our body. With regards to that, in this junction box, also called the laryngeal nerve, recurrent to be exact, inside that, the information is being stored. So as I speak to you, as we speak amongst one another, as I'm talking right now, vibration is going over. Brother Taj mentioned earlier about our higher self and our lower self. The lower self would be called the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex, most people have heard of the third eye, called the pineal gland. This is inside here, is called the prefrontal cortex. This is where we do all the logic. Should I leave now? Did I get the kids? What do I have to do later? That's all what's going on right here. But behind here, we have something called the amygdala brain. That's the fight, feed, flight, or freeze. So we're dealing with the functions of our brain and our body. But I'm here with regards to our throat and our voice to actually see what's going on. So once again, I talked about the junction box, the recurrent laryngeal nerve, and why there may be diseases in our body. Most people know we could be eating a lot better. We could be exercising more, getting a lot more sleep. But we may not know when we see TV commercials when they tell us to take a multivitamin. Might not know that you may not need a multivitamin. Your body might only need vitamin E. You might have an issue with vitamin C. But in order for you to find that, normally you would go to the doctor or to the clinic, Einstein and Jefferson. What you do, you take a blood sample, do a centrifuge, they do a couple lab tests, or you may have to do a urine sample depending on what type of disease you may have in your body. We're on the cusp of the Star Trek age. Well, depends on where you are in your status of being. Some people will still be in the Flintstone era, but those are not the Flintstones cartoons and things of that nature. But right now, I'm on the cutting edge, or people now, you're all being introduced to the cutting edge of this particular science called bio-acoustic. Bio-acoustic. Bio means life, acoustic means sound. So living sound. I don't know if many of you are familiar with, there's two brothers, from Clark, Atlanta. Not too long ago, CNN just had them on TV. And for people that are in to fire extinguishers and fire trucks and things, okay, so with regards to that, and something to extinguish fire, what they used, they took, imagine these little red fire extinguishers, and they have a hose, and normally foam comes out and messes up the truck. So what they've done, they put a subwoofer on the end of the nozzle. So instead of foam coming out to extinguish the fire, they're using sound called low frequency sound. Low frequency sound. So that's the key. So when most people in here, most everybody in here is conscious, so you're familiar with HAARP, High Active Aurora Research Project out in Alaska. They have Eisencat out in Russia. These are what they call high frequency. So sounds and frequencies will really jam a person up. So for our vibration, our vibratory rate, while we incarnated during this cycle, our particular body and our genetic structure requires certain minerals and vitamins than our alveolar counterpart. So our alveolar counterpart can ingest more acidic foods or cheeses and dairies. I wasn't coming here today to teach a more science class, but with regards to our genetic structure, it requires something called alkalinity, which means a pH. pH means parts hydrogen. So 7 is will be, we call it from 0, will be bleach. Or bleach, you know what happens, burn. You go to 14, it's called superalkalinity. That's what you got, well, I said acid is 0, and 14 will be bleach. So either way, too far on the scale, really destroy ourselves. So when we come to consuming foods could be very destructive to us, as we all, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. What I'm introducing you to something you may not know, what will help you, is what particular foods or minerals that your body can take and cannot take. So within a 30-second voice sample, you can determine what your body is requiring and asking for. Once again, your body does the healing. So what happens is once you have the proper information and the proper foods, then your body will do what it needs to do. I mentioned the back of the brain. So back of the head is called the occipital lobe. So when you're in the club and you hear that, there's another thing before I go further. Have you ever seen Star Trek before? They have something called the tricorder. They scan the person's body and they do the readings and stuff. We're, for the public's sake, we're not at that stage yet. But for behind, like DARPA, the Department of Advanced Research, for those that don't know, that's where all they have the little toys and gadgets and things of that nature. But for us, we're only at the stage now. I can take your voice now, take a voice sample, and determine, say if you, some people at older ages may have lived in homes or apartment buildings that had a lot of high lead content. And so they know that it's very destructive or harmful to our bodies. Our age gets cut down. We may be more prone to some type of disease. And as a result of that, we're at the stage now, I mentioned about the fire extinguisher using low frequency sound to put out the fire. We're at the stage, once again, there's something about the size of this cell phone here. It's a little thicker. It's called a tone box. So I'm going to do a 1 or 2 demonstrations so you can see. I'm not going to just talk about it, be about it, but demonstrate for 1 or 2 people so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. What happens is, in addition, because I'm in a public setting, so I'm not telling you not to take any of your medicine. I'm not telling you not to follow your protocol or what your standard doctor has given you. But what I'm saying is there's another tool available, or additional tools available, that you can put into your arsenal to help your longevity and your spirituality and your emotionality on this earth plane. So with regards to that, something called a tone box. I mentioned about lead earlier. If you had lead paint in your body, things like that. Just for example, what happens is sometimes it's very difficult to extenuate or to leave, to extract from your body. We're at the stage, once again, once everything vibrates, a frequency up and down, frequency. Yeah. So depending on how fast that frequency or the vibratory rate determines on how your body's going to be affected. So if you're in a club, I don't know, many people have never been in clubs before, but I've been in a club before, and how that bass hits you, what happens is, at the base, that bass sound, when it hits you, vibrates off your body. The back of your brain, once again, I call this called the occipital lobe, back here. Most people know the got 2 eyes facing out forward. We also have the pineal gland, for most people know, even the paper you handed out earlier. It's also a rod and cone, shape of cones. But the difference here, instead of it being too spherical, it's in shape of a cone, and it's facing the back of your head, so it vibrates and in tunes. Well, what does this have to do with your voice? It has a lot to do with your voice. Because your pineal gland, or your third eye, is responsible for what? Your intuition, your gut feeling. Should I get up and leave, or let me just hear him out? Is he crazy, or maybe there might be something to it? So with regards to that, the way our body designed, the divine creator, the divine femininity, the divine masculinity, whatever you subscribe to this divine energy, we've all been incarnated, like Brother Taj mentioned earlier, this earth vessel that we're in, but this is only our temporary house so we can navigate on this earth plane. We're actually all spiritual essence and spiritual beings. In order for us to be in tune to who we are and what we are, we have tools and techniques. Some people just got the gift. Some people are born with the veil. They just know it. But, that's not part of our overall culture to be in tune with that extrasensory perception part of us. But once again, our Albion counterparts have devised tools and systems that they use to understand better on a greater level on how the body really works. So once again, I mentioned about the voice, and I mentioned about the intuition of the third eye. With regards to our voice, I mentioned about the junction box, the larynx, the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It's number 9 out of 12 in the socket. So with regards to that, we can have an understanding in addition to if a person is going, like the Sixers is not really going as well this year because of their so-called code. But what happens is a professional athlete or just a general athlete could take a voice sample, which we're going to do a demonstration. I'm just dragging it out so y'all can, for anticipation's sake. But with regards to that, they could know ahead of time if they're going to have an ACL tear, they're going to mess with their Achilles tendon. All because everything remember, past, most of us deal with what, future fears and past pain. Future fears and past pain. So that's pretty much what we live in. So our stress hormones is off the hook because life is stressful if we don't know how to balance it. Sometimes we, like the brother mentioned earlier about us eating improperly. A lot of times we know that we should be eating better, but we have a chemical issue that we're dealing with as well. So people that smoke down on crack or doing a bump of coke, shooting heroin through their toes and things of that nature, they're just as addicted as many of us, but we're addicted on wheat or sugar or some other type of opioid. And with regards to that, so now most of us know, unless we just psychopaths, know that we should be living a righteous life. But now that we have a chemical imbalance and we have an electrical or biological imbalance, it's going to be very difficult for us just to philosophize and say that we should be feeling better, should be doing better. We all know that. But once again, I mentioned about the reptilian or R complex that many people have heard or familiar with. That's responsible for our fear, flight, or freeze mechanism. So that really runs who we are. So no matter how conscious that we are, we know about the Spanish Inquisition, but then once again, we have an electrical and chemical issue. So I said all that stuff here and say all that to say this, that in our voice also gives us, I mentioned about the pineal gland, it vibrates, it's a cone and rod, and you could just happen to know, like, I better not go on this bar tonight. I'm going to use a better term. I better not go to this church this evening or this masjid because this information may not be conducive to me. So let me go here and deviate somewhere else. I'm going to go be with my brethren on a Saturday afternoon and get some more knowledge and information. So with regards to that, that's that divine essence in us. Now that divine essence can be not only categorized, but can be archived and be transmitted so all of us can see. So once again, as you speak, it can give you a personality profile. So for those that are in the law, technically, well, let me say that, let me reverse that. In certain social circles and certain three-letter groups, this particular science is currently being used and being assessed. I teach a course for the Pan-African Studies program at Temple University called Self-Discovery. And one of the programs we talk about with regards to our voice and what's going on with us, something called reverse speech. All of this goes to reverse speech means how I'm talking to you forward. Simultaneously, matter of fact, we did a demonstration in the class not too long ago, simultaneously is another conversation going on. But we're not going to be doing that today, but we're going to be doing a demonstration for any volunteer, the person that wants to speak. Okay, brother. All right, I got you next, sister. So we're going to do, I'm going to do a personality profile. How you doing, Shemaya? All right, thanks, brother. All right. So what I'm going to do here for the brother Madul, it's a program called the Nano Voice. There's my nano. That's his program. Now, this particular program here, I'm going to ask the brother to speak for 30 seconds, if you can allow him. Just that 30 seconds are quiet, because normally what happens, just like when you go to your regular doctor's appointment, normally they're not taking something unless you've got other issues going on. Somebody else is taking your blood test for you or your urine test. That's a whole other degree there. But normally, so when you're doing that, so when you just give him a few minutes just to talk about whatever's on your mind, and then what we're going to do is see what type of vitamin or mineral or whatever that your body may be requesting. Okay. So do you find this interesting so far?
Yes. Very interesting. I'm excited. And elated.
So when you, I'm going to show you how to hold the mic. So when you hold the microphone, just talk whatever's on your mind, what you're thinking or whatever. All right. Yeah, tell us your name, what's going on, what you're thinking about.
My name is Abdul Kareem Abdul Hakim El Bay, and I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. And I'm fascinated. I became fascinated by biology and astrology when I visited a Black Noble bookstore. Black and Noble bookstore. I saw a book on biology, and I was like, wow. And they had a big picture in there, and I saw the makeup of the body. And I started studying the body, and I started studying astrology through some of the books that Taj and Sister Rise had on astrology. So I started studying both of them, and then I started learning those things, about those things. So, and it helped me a lot spiritually.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brother Herbert.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do now, the brother was very kind enough to share his voice with us. His musical, you got an audio voice going on, you got a singing career voice going on. You got, let me see here. So what I'm going to do now, you're watching a demonstration here. I'm going to import Brother Abdul's voice into a program called Abacus. How many people are familiar with that word, abacus? Yeah. All right, that's what the Asian or Chinese used to use, the little, right, to do their calculation, little beads and little strings or whatever. So this program is, well, obviously it's a computer, so you know it ain't no beads and strings here, but they named the program called Abacus. But what it's doing is taking the vibrations from the brother's voice, and it's going to convert it to numbers, mathematics. It's our science, mathematics. So it's going to convert our voice into mathematics. All right. Now, the technical term for this particular science is called bio-acoustic. Once again, if anyone ever seen TV and they had CSI, now they got Bow Wow on CSI, Computer Crime or whatever. The particular title that because I do this by trade, I'm called a vocal profiler. Vocal profile voices. So what as you can see here on the chart, you see a very thick blue area here. He has a long spike right here, right? Okay. Now, anything, I don't know, from the distance in the back, where I don't know if you can see the cursor, the mouse going across the screen right there. Yeah. All right. And that little area is a gray bar in that center piece right there. Yeah. That means the overall health status of an individual. For this demonstration, the brother here. So his overall health status, I don't expect anyone to read this graph and understand the chart. But I would like you to understand a few things. Anything below the line, that's what his body's asking for. Right now, I don't know exactly which vitamin or mineral or hormone that his body's requiring. Well, our divine creator has made us so great that even though if we drive a car and the red light is on for a minute, we got enough time to get to the store and put some oil into it. So we're allowed to be on this earth plane a lot longer because our body's a lot more durable. But if we had the proper nutrients and information inside of our bodies, we would be that much greater. So to this individual brother, so under the line, his body's asking for something. Above the line, his body is saying that I'm having a little difficulty with this right now. So this right now, just for demonstration purpose, put the brother's name here. All right. What's your last name? What's this? Bay. All right, brother. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to make a fake birthday. 01. 1950, gender, male, we'll just say practice, say health. So right now I got to put the information here. I'm going to hit something called points. So what happens, those little red bubbles, that tells the computer program if I wanted to take my time and find out all the little bubbles were going. I don't want to do that right now. So I'm going to let the computer do the bubbles. So what I will do this because everybody heard about past, present, and future, past, present, and future. And everybody, most of us all should know, especially from the teaching of Brother Taj, that time is infinite. But in this particular paradigm, in this flesh body, is finite. All right? So this is symbolic of this brother's life. So the first part right here, just for a quick thing, is immediate. What's happening within the last 24 hours. So right now, the top bubbles, I got my hand like you can see on the computer. This top bubbles here, that symbol, I watched the graph so much. He's dehydrated right now, so the brother needs a little bit more fluid. So in this section in here, if you can see the little cursor from this area here, that determines from 48 hours out to 6 months. And from this long spike, that would be something we'll talk offline and see what your body's like. You know, I need this really bad. So obviously, y'all don't have to be a graphologist to understand it, but you can obviously see that he has a long spike there. That is something that's requiring attention. All right. And so from 6 months on out to your mother womb, this is from here. All right, so what I'm going to do is save this just for time's sake. Put this in the file for the brother. All right, put this in the file. And then what I'm going to do, put a date on it.
Would it help if I gave you the birthday?
I'll do it after. Okay. Yeah. But for right now, just for my catalog.
Right.
I'll build with you after. So what I'm going to do is open up a program here. There's several different. They have one for Ebola, allergies, but this one demonstration right here is just for the sake of his overall just general health. So what I'm going to do is open up a program. This one is a bio-health. Door right here. Open up a report. See how quick that is? Now this chart right here is a no correlate chart. I had to do an investigation. Overall, he seems to be pretty good. These numbers, like if you see F, G sharp, A, things of that nature, if you see a number 4 or more, that would give the vocal profile and say, look, we got to pay some attention in this area. Specifically, the brother said, look, I got issues with my kidneys, my pressure's really got me going, can you talk to me, help me out? So what that would give us, if I didn't know him and just like a lab report came, they had too much of the voice report came in, then I would look and say, oh, this is how we do our investigation. But since we build a dialogue and we can say, look, I got an issue here, whatever. So what I'm going to do here, I'll take an example here, even though it's not really an issue, but just to show you what's going on. Anything that's happened with us physically, like if we got the gout, obviously, we got too much acid in our blood. Well, maybe you may not know, but if you have a gout or joint problems or issues, that means that your body's a little too acidic. So once again, we talk about acid needs to be balanced out with something called alkalinity. So you're gonna get that from your greens, your certain other type of fruits and vegetables that would help bring your alkalinity up. Once again, we're chemists. I self-law and master, so we should be mastering ourselves. The only way we can master ourselves, we have the proper information to do that. So, for example here, just for a demonstration purpose, like say for a person had an issue with kidneys or whatever like that, and I know it's your demonstration, but just for demonstration purposes, the note of F, when people, I don't know if you know singers that play music, saxophone, things of that nature, so you should know about the different tones and octaves on the scale. Once again, we're vibration. So your orange shirt is a vibration. Your black shirt is a vibration. The white shirt is a vibration. Everything vibrates at a certain rate. So what determining how it vibrates is going to be, if it's going to be audible or visual. Audible or visual. But right now we're dealing with the audibility. So right now, once we know that if a person has a dis-ease or problem in their body as a result of something spiritual or emotional. So if a person has a dis-ease in their body, something spiritually or emotionally has not been addressed. So our higher self is saying, look, you got an issue in your body, you need to deal with it, but we really don't listen to that because, we got to go to the game, got to go to work, got to make sure the kids are straight, got to handle the situation with my lady or my man. So you got time to be worried about what your body is saying to you, talking to you. You can't hear those voices. So then what happens is, okay, you're not going to deal with this emotional situation or this issue that you didn't deal with your mom, or they left you in a foster home, or you got beat up, or things like that. You never dealt with that. You kept pressing that down. So what happens is your body gets to a point, you're going to have to deal with this. So a dis-ease comes in your body. So we're dealing with a kidney issue. The emotional standpoint on a note of F is in Frank, things that a person can either be two extremes, could be a procrastinator or a workaholic. So the spiritual emotional issue with the person that's dealing with a kidney issue, so all these dialysis places going on, building up, especially in our community, is a result of some type of procrastination or workaholic to disguise or to brush away what's actually going on with them. Also dealing with the inability to integrate their perception with action. What does that mean? That means that you have this information and knowledge, but somehow you just can't process it correctly. And as a result of that, for living a lifetime or a period of your life, your kidneys get weak, and then you start incorporating habits that are not conducive. You may drink a little bit more than normal. And I'm not talking about apple juice. I'm talking about like Henny or whatever, or your Patron or whatever your thing is. You got to keep it 100. So as a result of that, these type of destructive behaviors end up ultimately only affecting our spirituality or emotionality, but our physical body is the final stage of this manifestation. For the sake of time, I'm going to move on because the demonstration was to find out what type of mineral or vitamin the brother's body is requesting. Right now, tuberculosis. So you have an issue with a particular mushroom. I don't know if you do that, but this is an herb. So this particular herb right here, this Colessus Yorkhouse. So if you went to, I'll give it to you when you leave here, whatever like that. But this means that if you went to the herb store and this particular compound was in the herb, your body, you would have some type of adverse reaction to it, because this particular scale says either high or low, all right? So low means that your body's asking for it, and if it's high, your body's like, oh, I can't do nothing with this. Matter of fact, you really kind of jacking this up by you inducing this or ingesting this into your body. So if you went to the herb store, say, and for what other, or at present, your body is able to deal with other type of herb compounds, because if you wasn't, it would come up on this chart. Some people have a whole flood of information. So for demonstration purposes, right here, your body, I mentioned about dehydration. This is the vitamin scale here. And your body is asking for vitamin B1, vitamin C, chromium picolate. So these particular vitamins that your body is requesting. So if it's in the low scale, once again, I think y'all can see what I'm doing over here on my screen. This low scale here. So vitamin C for demonstration purposes, needed for proper digestion, speeds up slow metabolism, is a great antioxidant, aids in normal glandular function, and good for prostate. So this will really help out your prostate. Your body's like, look, if you got a prostate issue, or you may have a prostate issue, just give us some vitamin C, not OD, but give us some vitamin C, and then your body, once again, your body does the healing once it has the proper information and nutrition. All right, so I'll do one more here. Mineral. The brother's body's asking for calcium. Most people know calcium is great for the bones, for the teeth, for hair follicles. So once again, his body's asking for calcium. So now when you see the commercials, they say that you need a multivitamin. This brother doesn't need a multivitamin. This brother's like, once again, we are seeing he needs vitamin C and he needs calcium. So if we went through the list, we could go additional categories. But just for the sake, I promise to do you, and I'm not quite sure about my time, but the sister here. So y'all, that gives you an idea what's available to us right now. So I hope y'all find that part interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah. That one might require me to do outside of everybody here. You get nervous? Oh, you get all right. You want to do a personality profile, or you want to do or what you do? What's your name? Taïd, all right. Okay, I'm going to do Sister Taïd. We're going to do a dual situation here. We're going to do a personality profile for her. So all I'm going to do is just grab the mic, and you hold the mic. Y'all give her like 30 seconds just to talk whatever in your mind, as you all can see right here.
Go?
Yep.
Okay. Is this mic on? It is on and it's on. Okay, so I guess my purpose for being here is to evolve and to grow into my natural self. Yes. And I think it's a beautiful thing that I have my brothers and my sisters here who I do know to support me outside of this. Let's see, I am a mother of 2. I am 35. I don't look it, but I am. I get that. I get that everywhere. So like, so it's a pleasure. So considering this personality test, if I were to maybe talk about my personality, I would say it's sort of bubbly. I'm sometimes nervous or shy, and then sometimes not. And I kind of go between the two. But yeah, overall, I'm a vessel of love.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, so can y'all give her a hand? All right, this is the sister's, all right, Taib. This is a personality profile. All right. Let me explain one thing here. This is a personality profile here for Taib. And then if you confirm or not confirm, whatever.
Okay.
Check. I'm sorry, I spelled it wrong, but
Taib,
right, okay. For Taib, Sister Taib.
What's that with the hash on the E?
Huh?
What happened?
Oh, like Taib?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's supposed to be the hash on the E.
He wants to be fancy. But this is for the sister's personality. This is points of importance.
Oh, yes.
Taib, she challenges the opinions of others with good reason.
Hello.
You have a high idea and expect the same of others. Your reputation is very important to you. You will go to great lengths to protect it. Your highest note is associated with the expression of self-approval, self-worth. You have issues with digestion, enzyme, and energy production resides with this note. Your highest note is associated with the service to humanity and the human spirit.
Yes.
Your feelings and desires to help others reside with this note. Your highest note is associated with the internal perspective of insight and self-awareness. Internal faith, fairness, fulfillment resides with this note. You don't always express your sense of confusion to the appropriate person. Thinking about an action is not the same as doing. So go ahead and send a little gift, a card, or a note. When in doubt, have the courage to go to the source and ask for clarification. Points of communication, complications, and complaints. You tend to teach by actions. You sometimes help others to the detriment of yourself. Your emotions run strong and can influence your health. You can easily put yourself aside for the benefit of others. It's hard for you to understand why people take your peaceful nature as being an easy target. You know how to get things done, but don't always have the time to deal with the details. You do what you do for the benefit of all concerned, even if it stresses you out personally. So with regards to that, you can see the value of tools like this. And it gives you an insight into you personally, to your mate or your associate or your co-worker. I'm not saying that y'all could start ear hustling and recording things, but you could definitely go in there and start getting intuitively, you know, like somebody's rhyming, well, I mean, public sector. If you know someone is not in favor of you, you kind of intuitively know that. But now you can have a better understanding on why there is a repulsion between you and another person. Like this particular personality profile here gives you an idea. You live with yourself, so you know who you are, and then you can understand why things move you the way that they do. So as a result of that, this particular science and knowledge is available for those that are interested. If you want to see me after this session here, we can exchange numbers, and if y'all want to have a real thorough lab report, lab test, I'm more than willing to do that. I'm not quite sure about the time or whatever like that, but if y'all find this interesting, it's a lot more available. We're a lot more, obviously everyone always heard that we're more powerful than what we are, but now this particular demonstration shows you what's available to us and what we can do with this information. So, turn it back over to you, brother. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Any questions, comments, questions, anything? Yeah, I'll write down.
Okay, well, you in the back?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Man, that was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for participating.
All right, y'all, just a couple announcements and then we can split. We got, I guess we can mingle for a minute or two. My man McCool over there setting up some food. He got in here a little late, but if y'all hungry, just grab some grub right quick.
Absolutely.
And Bill Bay's in the back with books and DVDs. Roz is in the corner back there with our books. Dr. Rafiq is still in the back if anybody wants to see him for any herbs. This would be great. You get this test done, and then you can go see Dr. Rafiq and get it all. He got every herb you can think of right back there. So, you know, everybody, like I was talking earlier, we want to get things done. We can support this brother and then turn around and go support Dr. Rafiq. Dr. Rafiq is my personal doctor. I'm a vouch for him every chance I get. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can sit there and sing his praises all day and night, but the majority of y'all know him. We also have DVDs of the classes right here. A lot of these documents that Todd spoke about, the ordinance, the 1787 ordinance, the the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. We did classes on them, and the DVDs are right here on this table. Like I said before, DVDs are 5 notes a piece, but if you want, you can, for 20 notes, you can grab any 6 on the table that you want. Just go over there and see Sister Delilah. All the finance that we take from the DVDs go towards our school fund. And like I said before, I stand by what I said. We'll have a school by the end of the year. All right. The first Saturday in June, we're going to do, instead of having class here, we're going to have class outside. We're going to do the Philly tour again with Ross Ben. All right. So for anybody who didn't get to go to the tour, make note. The first Saturday in June, we're doing a Philly tour with Ross Ben. The first Saturday in June, Philly tour with Ross Ben. Don't come running up on that Saturday saying, hey, because no, when I take how many people come in and we get a bus, that's it. Ain't nobody squeezing on the bus, ain't nobody, no last minute stuff. I'm letting you know now. So let me know now if you want to go. So between now and the beginning of the next month, everybody needs to say, I'm thinking about going or I am going. Don't wait until June. All right, again, we got Dr. Bafiq in the corner, Rasamila Maku in this corner with food, Raz Mariah in the back, Brother Nabi in the back with flags and feathers and things like that. The boo's back there hiding. He didn't bring any jewelry, but that's our Moorish jewelry right there. And peace and love, Islam.
That's how it used to go. You go to the lectures. You don't just sit at home and push whoever's live. You actually get up, travel, and go get that knowledge. So we're going to be doing this a little more, pulling out some of the DVDs that aren't on YouTube and giving you an opportunity to learn from the masters. So honors to all the Moors. Time to hit the road, get some stuff done, even though this is the second trip. Already been out there already. Islam to all the farmer Moors out there, got the soil and all that today. So we're about to kick it off. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all the Moors. Honors to all the mothers. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and all the Moor Avengers. Study, study, study. Islam Moors.